Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to the January 2024 channel update. Happy holidays everybody and happy new year. If you're not familiar with these, this is the short video series where I kind of show a behind the scenes look at the YouTube channel, talk about some of the numbers and talk about some of the things that have gone on, and then talk about some of the goals and vision for the upcoming month. Given that this is the end of the year, this is going to be a bigger episode. Going to kind of do a year in review of the channel, as well as talking as to kind of things where I'd like and directions I'd like to go with the channel going forward. So if you are interested in the behind the scenes look at a YouTube channel and also interested to see where I'm thinking to take this channel going forward and getting a chance to offer some input into that, this is the video for you. This is also the video where we're going to be picking the winner of the December Noble Knight store credit giveaway based on people who entered in the comment section of the upcoming War Games video from December. So stick around to the end of this video where we're going to pick the winner from those entries. As I mentioned in the upcoming War Games video, I am super excited that Noble Knight Games is now a sponsor of the channel. And it was great. If you're not familiar with them, they sell board games, minis, war games, and new and used, older, out of print things, all kinds of stuff based in Wisconsin. I personally had fantastic experiences with them. And it was great to see in the comments from the previous video, all of the people that had similar experiences, because I do want to make sure that I pick sponsors with kind of an ethical and responsible nature. And I feel, again, really comfortable based on my experiences with Noble Knight and word of mouth. But it was great to see overwhelming word of mouth support for them as well. Things like this here, just kind of randomly going through some of the comments. I can also confirm that Noble Knight Games is an awesome store and sponsor. From Beer Brigade 3096. I bought plenty of games and minis from them and even sold some stuff from them. They are great. And they're just kind of it was just smatterings of these types of comments through the whole previous video. Just looking there here. I'm glad to hear that Noble Knights has teamed up with you. The game that I'm going to tackle next year was purchased from Noble Knight, Cuba Libre. And people like that saying, like, you've had good experiences. They like the store. They've sold stuff to them, bought stuff from them, and all kinds of stuff. Congratulations on the affiliation with Noble Knight from Joel Cole. We discovered them early when I got back into gaming, and since then have sent a lot of money their way. LOL. I know the feeling. David Sandberg right after that. Congrats on the Noble Knight collaboration. They really are a great store. I'm looking forward to getting Enemy Action Ardennes to the table by early next year. And I got my copy of that game from Noble Knight. So it was great to see. Thank you everybody for sharing your experiences with them and reinforcing the hope that I'm bringing on good sponsors to the channel that benefit both the sponsor, the channel, and the people that visit the channel. That's really the goal, that it works for everybody. So thank you again. And do stick around to the end of this video where we're going to pick the Noble Knight store credit giveaway. Let's jump into our channel update content now. As always, I like to start with a behind the scenes look at the numbers. And not that the numbers are kind of something I'm all that hyper focused on, but I do think they are an indicator as to whether the channel is the content is resonating with viewers and helping to fulfill what I think its goals are and what I hope to be the channel to be, which is to help people enjoy tabletop board gaming, tabletop wargaming, to help people find new games that are meaningful for them, that are good fits for them, and to help bring new people into the hobby as well. So with all that in mind, I'm happy to say that the numbers for November, which I'm looking back on now, I haven't got all December's numbers in yet, we're up substantially. And it's actually, I kind of got a pretty cool thing, I think, at the end too. So when the last time I did a channel update, I was looking at September numbers, which were 66,000 views in the month of September. And the month of November had 80,000 views, which is, I'm pleased with that regrowth, if you would, and that resumed kind of interest in the content. September had 7,000 hours watched. November had 7.9 thousand hours watched. September had plus 300 subscribers roughly. And November had plus 500 subscribers. So all things kind of picking up and growing in some really fun ways. So thank you as all to the new subscribers and people who have watched and commented and liked on all the videos over the course of the past few months. That helps out a ton. This is probably also a good time to mention, to give a special thanks to all of the Patreon sponsors on the channel. I've been looking at some of the stuff in kind of the year in review, and it's absolutely clear to me that I couldn't be creating as much content without the support of Patreon supporters. Thank you all for the help you have provided to the channel over the course of the past year and a half now that the Patreon's been up. And a special word of thanks to our new Patreons. We have Dogger, Jim Bezak, Al, Chris, Eric Hansen, and Richard Dagnall. Thank you so much for joining up to the Patreon. And the link is down below if other people would like to jump in and support the channel via that. That's our numbers. The other good thing I want to say about the numbers, one last word on the numbers, is that it looks like for December that the channel is going to, the two channels combined is going to exceed its highest month ever. So if you recall, and I'll talk about that momentarily as we jump into kind of 2023, in the middle of last year, middle of this year, the channel split into 2 years. All of the content that was on the channel broke up into two types, and I created a second spin-off channel. The numbers have been below the peak of the original channel since I did that, but now I think finally things are getting sorted out about 6 months after that happened, and both the combination of views and hours watched on both channels should go to an all-time high in December, which is, I think, kind of a fun way to start January off. So thank you again, as always, to people who watch, comment, and all those kinds of things. It's the community is the thing that makes this all work, the thing I never expected, and the greatest part of this adventure for me. So it's been just a joy to everything that people bring to the channel. So now I want to jump into the meat of the video, which is kind of the 2023 year in review, a reflective look back on the channel. I'm just going to kind of ramble. I got a bunch of talking points. We're going to geek out on some of the stuff, and hopefully it's interesting to some people that like wargaming, like content creation, and have been followers of the channel for a while. First up, one of the goals in 2023 was to have fun. And I'd say that was 85% successful. There were two things that I think definitely created a little bit of stress and anxiety with my approach to the channel and some things that went on. But I feel like I'm reaching a good spot with those, and I feel like I'm able to move forward with them now. And I think that that's part of it, right? Is that there's going to always be challenges, things that happen that are unexpected. That's part of the fun too. But I feel like it was 85% fun in 2023, which is a really good number, I think, to be at. I'm never expecting it's going to be 100% fun, right? Let's be realistic. And I'm also looking forward to having that be a goal for 2024. The other big thing that happened in 2023, especially if you're new to the channel, you might not know this, is I split the channel, the one channel, up into two channels. So before, it was like April or so, I think it was, I realized that I was creating content about tabletop wargaming, tabletop board games, PC war games, and then some other PC games, and then kind of simulation content, like trucking content and SnowRunner content and stuff like that. YouTube and viewers were getting really confused, and it was clear the channel was stagnating because it was too mixed. There wasn't a similarity of content there. So I split the trucking and simulation and PC gaming content off into a second channel called Zilla Blitz Second Gear. And when I did that, the numbers went down on both channels as well. Went down a lot, as you would expect. That really confused YouTube for a while. And that was a big thing to kind of execute and to be able to coordinate through the course of 2023. The good thing, again, is that I'm happy that right now, I think YouTube sorted it out. I think viewers are sorting it out. The content is organized in a much better fashion. I'm going to talk a little bit about some tweaks to that at the end of the video with things I want to do for upcoming in 2024. But I think it's reached a really good spot. I'm really glad I did it. It was a lot of work. There was a struggle there because of the dip in kind of viewers and YouTube getting really confused. But I think it's all sorted out, and it's in a much better place now. So that was a big thing to accomplish, and I'm happy I was able to get that done in 2023. One of the other goals for this year, it's kind of another behind the scenes thing, was to not lose money on the channel, okay? To break even over the course of 2023. Wasn't able to accomplish that. But I do think going forward, the good thing is that I think over the last 3 months or so of 2023, it's reached a point where I think it can break even on a month-to-month basis going forward, perhaps even leaving some to do things like do a convention kind of occasionally, one or two a year. So I feel like it's kind of getting in a good spot now. The goal is never really to make money off of this, although I will talk about some other goals that do involve that going forward, but I'm happy kind of with where things are heading in that direction right now. Third goal, or maybe fourth goal, I've lost track of the numbers, was to attend a wargaming conference. Now, I had never been to a wargaming conference before this year, and this one was a clear win. I was able to get to two conferences, the San Diego Historical Games Conference in Rhode Island, oddly enough, and then the San Diego Historical Games Conference in San Diego in November. And I went to two of them. Now, one of the reasons, if you're new to the channel, I got back into wargame after about a 25-year absence towards the back end of the pandemic. I was just so tired of screens. I said, I want to play something that's not on a screen. So I started looking at tabletop war games, realized it was still a thing. I didn't even know. After like a 25-year gap, I got back into it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I like this. And that's really kind of what started all of this, and it just keeps kind of snowballing and spiraling since then. So of course, I hadn't been to a conference before that. There's a 25-year gap, and then I wasn't able to go on during the pandemic. So I said, I'd really like to go to conference/convention kind of thing. And both of them were fantastic. It was really, really fun. And one of the goals as well with that, I feel like, it's part of the YouTube content creation in the aspect of going that. I want to go to have fun, but I also want to go and bring something back to the channel from having gone to those. And that was the first one was kind of a scouting mission. The one in August was to get a sense for how conferences and conventions work. And then the one in San Diego in November was like, okay, I definitely want to bring some content back for the channel. And I was able to create 6 videos from the experience at the last one in November. And I'm hoping that that will be a thing going forward, that if I can get to a convention, can help people who weren't able to go live a little bit vicariously through that and share some of the experiences of the things that happened there and kind of help people to participate more in the hobby, even if people aren't able to physically get to a convention or something like that. So that was, I think, a big win. Another goal was to play more with others, both online and live. I am really happy with how that transpired. Up until kind of like a year and a half ago, I was very much a solitaire gamer. I mean, it was the pandemic, right? Okay, so we weren't getting together with people and things like that. And then it took a while to even, we're kind of done to get together and for people to feel comfortable sitting down at tables with strangers. And of course, everybody's experience is a little bit different, but that was my experience. I'm happy to say that I've got a number of people becoming friends and acquaintances that I've been able to play with locally, live, face-to-face. We have a board game club at work now. I've been playing a lot more in places like Rally the Troops and on Steam and stuff, and then playing at the convention. So I feel like my play has become much more balanced from like a heavy solo focus to a 2-player, multiplayer, solo focus to get a much broader sampling of it. And that's been one of the funnest things I think that's happened in 2023, is to have that become kind of a goal that was realized. One of the other goals for 2023, and I'm going to call this one a win too, was to create different types of content outside of kind of like the first look videos, the playthrough videos, the occasional reviews, interviews, and things like that. Interviews for me this year were new on the channel. That was one thing I wanted to add interview content. The San Diego Historical Games Convention afforded that. And I think now I've got a subscription to SteamYard. So I'm looking to add more of that in 2024. I think that those are really fun to do. And I think it's a good thing to add to the channel. But beyond that, I wanted to add kind of a little bit more content that was outside of the traditional content. I've got kind of a notebook full of ideas on different types of video series and different types of videos to make and create. And I've really wanted to have the time to dig into some of those. Example number 1 would be the upcoming Wargames series, the monthly series talking about that. Now, that in itself isn't super creative or original and things like that, but it's something I've wanted to do, and it's something a lot of fun to do. And I think it's something that is a little bit outside of traditional content that's on the channel. But a more perhaps specific idea is one of the current things on the channel right now, which is Bulge Off 23, which is kind of an exploration tournament, NCAA tournament bracket style of what I could hone down to being kind of the best 20 and most iconic Battle of the Bulge tabletop war games, and have like a knockout style tournament where it goes from 20 games down to one eventual champion kind of thing. That's the type of content that I'd like to do more of, and type of content that I'd like to really bring to the channel is unique things like that really I haven't seen done so much in other places, and to kind of lean in and explore content like that. So I'm happy that it started in 2023. Definitely something I want to explore more in 2024. So to sum up and to look back on 2023, I think it was a really fun year for the channel. It was fun for me to create. I hope people enjoyed the content. I'm really happy with how 2023 has gone, which brings us to the next year, 2024. What are my thoughts and vision and goals and hopes for the channel in 2024? Thought I'd spend a little bit of time talking about that. Goal number 1 that I'm always going to prioritize. I've been talking about this with some other a small group of content creators that we kind of chat and comment and talk a little about content creation. Fun. I want 2024 to be fun, and not just from selfish reasons, right? Because the only way I think a content creator continues making content is if it's personally fun for them and enjoyable. It's a hobby. It's not my job. I really want it to be fun. So I think that comes through in quality content. A lot of people have put comments that way too. So if I'm having fun, it shows up in the videos. And if it shows up in the videos, then people enjoy the videos more. It just creates this really good spiral. So that's the number 1 goal for 2024 again. The other goal for number 20 for 2024 is maintaining respectful commitments and promises. And that's what I want to talk a little bit when I mentioned 2023, that there were really kind of 2 areas that caught me off guard that I wasn't ready for, that created some stress or some anxiety. One of them was this, because I think if 2023 was defined as a year that was a lot of fun in a little ways, there was one element where I really miscalculated that ended up, for me personally, I think creating quite a bit of stress and anxiety. And that was as it got towards the end of 2022 and the first 2-3 months of 2023, a lot of publishers and companies reached out and asked if I would be interested in reviewing or looking or creating content for games and things like that. And so they would send a lot of game and it go along a game. And my commitment to that, or my promise to that, would be to bring that game to the channel to show some playthrough, to show kind of a first look video and things like that, do a review or something like that. And I didn't do the math. A lot of stuff came in the course of like 5 months, and I just didn't do the math. So at one point, I think I was sitting there in March or April or so of this year, 2023, with like close to 40 things that I had committed to doing. And I was looking at it, and I started to realize when I did the math that like a first look video alone generally takes me anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to do. And a playthrough, I mean, it depends a lot. There's so many factors: complexity of the game, quality of the rule set, all these kinds of things, how long the game takes to play, how much editing is involved in the video and things like that. But generally, those types of videos are going to take me anywhere from a minimum of 15 hours to probably on average closer to 20, 25 hours to do, because there's just I can go into detail why, but they just take a long time. And I just way overcommitted. And I looked and I said, oh my gosh, I've committed to so much stuff. And I'm still working through it now, although I feel like it's really in the spot where it's starting to get in balance. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I've reached a good part. And part of that really was, unfortunately, I just needed to say no to a lot of people that were asking over in the back half of 2023. So one of the goals for 2024 is to keep that to a manageable amount. I really enjoy that. And I will say nothing. I'm so appreciative when people reach out and they would like to, they're interested in saying that the channel does a good job and kind of showing their games and things like that. It's fun to do and all those kinds of things, but I do want to keep everything in balance, so I make sure that I don't burn out. I'm able to create content that's got a great variety and stuff like that. So that's goal number 2, is to keep that balanced going forward. Another goal for 2024 is to break even on the channel. And I think it might be, at the current level, I think it's almost doable now. We should have enough money left over to go to one conference, perhaps. And I think that would be a really nice spot to get to. But I mentioned earlier on that like one of my goals isn't to make money off the channel, but I would like to be able to do this stuff more, right? And there's 2 ways I can see going forward to do this more. One would be to outsource the editing of the video. Now if I look at kind of how much time I spend on the channel, about half the time is playing games and recording games, and about half the time is editing games. So I put learning games in there and stuff like that. But half the time is editing game videos, right? Editing video content for the channel. It's hugely time intensive. I would love to be able to outsource that, because that would be able to free up a lot more time to play games and create content and create more videos for the channel. So to increase the amount of time I could spend on this, I have to figure out where that time is going to come from. I'd love to be able to do that. It's just not financially feasible at all to be able to think about doing that right now. I can't afford it. I can't do it. And it wouldn't be something I could look at. But if the channel were to keep growing, then I could start to say like, okay, I can start to outsource 2 or 3 videos a month to this, which would free up the capacity to make a couple more videos and get that spiral going to be able to kind of create more content and stuff like that. So that would be one place that I think I could start looking at. The second thing was and from a professional sphere, my general work life is a full-time job. And then I also do a job on the side to kind of bring in some extra money to help kind of make all the ends meet and stuff like that. If the channel ever could get to the point where it was beyond even, I would want to sacrifice that extra work so that I could commit and bring in that time and replace it with time making videos. I think that's kind of a secondary thing that almost be like a year and a half down the line. And a lot of good things would have to happen between now and then for that to happen. But that's kind of one long-term thought. But the immediate thought would be, could I outsource some of the editing, because that would free up more time to create more capacity and more content on the channel. So that's a goal there. But the short-term goal 2024 is, can I end 2024 without losing money? Okay, without spending more than comes in on the channel. I think that would be kind of a fun goal. And I'm not complaining by any means. It's a hobby, right? And I get to do it and create stuff and content and things like that. And so again, the goal is never to be profitable off of this. The goal is to enjoy it and have fun and help hopefully make videos and content that people enjoy. So with all that being said, those are kind of the financial goals, if you would, for 2024. Now I come to what I call the more goals for 2024. Things I want to do more of. One is to more creative projects. So things like bulge off and stuff like that. I want to do more things. I've got a bunch people that mentioned some ideas on comments on the channel for things you could do like bulge off. And I've got like a notebook that's literally full of these kinds of things that I'd like to be able to create for the channel. More interviews. I really enjoyed doing the interviews I did in November at San Diego Historical Games Conference. And I'd love to be able to do a bunch more. Connected to that, I'd love to collaborate more with other content creators. Done a little bit of that in 2023, but I'd really like to do more of that. There are some amazing content creators out there, and it's just so much fun when you can get together and chat with them. That was kind of one of the things that was really apparent too going to the conventions, to be able to get a chance to talk to people like this that we're doing the same thing. It's so helpful to be able to collaborate and talk, and then to create content in a collaborative fashion, I think can only make content better as well. Another thing, play more games. And that sounds like, so I think one thing I have to look at when I'm saying I want to do more of something is where's that time going to come from? Because I don't feel like I'm using my time very inefficiently. And it's like, where's it going to come? I have two places where I think it can come from. Really three places. Place number one is the respectful commitments. So I talked a little bit about that, not overcommitting to things that are going to absorb all the time on the channel, really trying to keep that in balance. So I want to do review copies, I have first look videos and things like that, and playthroughs and things like that for games that are upcoming, but also want to make sure I keep that in balance so that I can kind of play enough games, play new games, play some of the games that are on the shelf of opportunity and some of the older games as well. So that's one place where I think time can come from. A second is I've got my studio set up, and there's always games I'm shooting on the studio. I need a separate table that I think is going to be just a separate table is going to be a play table. And I'm working on that this week, setting up a different space in the house where it's just going to be my play table. And that will help me as I'm shooting one video, I can be learning and playing the next game on that other channel. Right now, I really can't do that. So it creates this dead space between playthrough series where it's like, I got to learn the next game, play the next game. And it's like a week or two before I can sometimes get that next series out. So I'm hoping to cut that down to 0 by having another table that will play there. The third thing would be to try to outsource some of the editing. That's a little bit more of a pie in the sky wish. But if at some point in 2024 that might be possible, that would help free up more space for some of these more things too. So I do have a plan in place, at least a rough plan in place, for creating some more time to do the more list for 2024. And with that, there's only really one thing left that I wanted to talk to before we get to our Noble Knight giveaway, is a channel balance. In the last channel update, this is kind of a 2024 goal and vision thing. In the last channel update, I talked about the idea of where to put PC strategy games like Crusader Kings, Europa Universalis 4, and other games that I would, Old World, other games that I would fall into that category that has long been an interest of mine to add to the channel. And I thought this Wargames channel would be the place to do that. But in talking to a bunch of people and asking in the October update, a lot of people seemed to agree with the idea that it would make sense to have that content on the Zilla Blitz Second Gear channel. And I've kind of settled on that. And that is a goal for that channel, is to really bring that content on board. I've been working hard at learning Crusader Kings 3 and creating content for it and watching other content that's out there. And I'm ready to start that in 2024. So if you're a fan of that and like the other channel, you should see some of the stuff come up on the other channel that way for that. And that leaves the question though of, so that content's going to go there. That leaves the content of the content balance for this channel in 2024. And I think it's going to largely stay the same, but there is one area that I want to broaden out into a little bit more than I've done in the past. And so let's talk a little bit though first about what's here. Tabletop historical wargaming stuff. At all levels, like low, intermediate, low introductory level, intermediate level, kind of complex level, to really kind of keep going as it is. And the core focus of this channel is that tabletop historical games content with a broad definition of what a war game is. Now, the other thing I do want to bring in and keep there is there's been smatterings of PC wargaming content, things like Unity of Command, other games that are up now, which is the SGS series, the Stalingrad one, which I will finish. I'm going to finish that one. It's up to episode 9 of 12, and I'm going to finish it. So don't despair. A couple of people are asking where that one is. So I do want to keep, like, that would be PC turn-based historical wargaming that looks like a board game. So it's a really close match with the board game. Like Lockenlod's Tactical System, I've had some videos up on that. Other games have been up there too that kind of fit into that too. But that type of content, I want to keep that here. The majority of which, though, I want to keep it tabletop focused. The other thing, however, I have been playing a lot more of crunchy Euro board games and kind of what I would call traditional war game adjacent stuff. And I want to bring more of that, as because my gaming interests are going in that way a little bit too. And it's not going to be the majority is always going to be wargaming, so don't fret. There will always be plenty of wargaming content on the channel, but I do want to add that in, one as kind of a personal exploration and interest, and I think there's a good overlap between that content and traditional wargaming content, so I want to lean into that space. As I've done so, I've noticed a couple of reactions on the channel. By far, most of the people say, oh, this is awesome. Like I'm thinking about even like, oh, it's a game I have right here, which is like Witchcraft. And just people said, oh, that's great. I never would have gamed that. I got that. I really like it. So I feel like, a lot of people play a lot of different stuff. There has been a reaction to is like, what's that kind of content doing on a wargaming channel? Just to be clear, this has never been intended to solely be a wargaming channel, and it never will be solely a wargaming channel. But hopefully you will always have enough wargaming content if you're someone who that stuff kind of isn't what you want, that you'll always be able to say, okay, 80% of the content is stuff I like, 20% of the content I can kind of just skip through it. And hopefully that doesn't bother people, but I think most people are fine with like, okay, this video doesn't apply to me. I'm just going to jump onto it. So that's kind of the goal for channel balance, kind of 80% traditional historical wargaming content of all different levels on the tabletop, and maybe the other 20% looking at PC wargaming content and kind of some wargame adjacent games, things like like the Witchcraft game, or some Euros like Europa Universalis for, and the board game itself, to look at some of the content like that. That's crunchy Euro content. I think that's everything that I've wanted to mention. It is time now then for us to go in and to pick our winner in the Noble Knight gift giveaway. And now it's the moment you've all been waiting for, to pick our store credit for Noble Knight, the $50 winner. Correct answer was Fitchburg, Wisconsin. That's where the store is located. And you do also have, the winning reply does have to have a game they want to play in the upcoming year in there. I've got everything set up right, and I've got all the comments collected. We have 187 comments. Now it's time to come down here and to pick our winner. We are waiting, and the winner is Koyi51, Fitchburg. Compass postage more than games, while Worthington do not. He has added in a game that he wants to play. Looking forward to playing Thunder in the East when it arrives. Our winner is Koyi51. Congratulations. To collect your prize, now let's talk a little bit about that. What I'd like to ask you to do is to post a comment down below in the video with the same account that you used to make this entry, and let me know how I can reach out to you, either by email or by Twitter or something like that, some way that I can reach out to you. And then all I will need is your email that is attached to your Noble Knight Games account. If you want to put that down in the comment and then delete it afterwards so your email isn't public, that would work. Once I reply, we can do it that way. And I had mentioned I was going to give people to the end of December to claim your prize, but because I'm posting this a little bit later, I'm going to go to 11:59 on January 7th, 2024 to claim your prize. And if no one claims, if Koyi doesn't claim it by then, we will roll it over to a double prize winner in the upcoming year. So congratulations to Koyi51. Actually, no, he's been a long-time follower of the channel. So I suspect we will hear from him relatively quickly. And that brings us to the end of this channel update. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, ideas, and anything that we've talked about over the course of this wandering monologue. Your thoughts and input is always greatly appreciated. If you're not Koyi51, which means you didn't win the drawing this one, and looking forward to another drawing, there will be one coming up in January, probably January 10th, 12th will be the next upcoming War Games. So we'll have another drawing there. And there will be a different sponsored giveaway on the channel in January too, from different company, different things. So look for that as well. Thank you to everybody, of course, as well, over the course of 2023 for all your incredible support, be that either thumbs up, likes, comments, subscriptions, Patreon support, using some of the links that are down below when you buy stuff and things like that. All of your help and support has made this adventure so much more fun and enjoyable. The greatest thing about the whole adventure is getting to know every single one of you and stuff like that through the comments that you make and things. And so thanks so much for all of your help in making this adventure more fun for me. And I hope you have a great 2024 and a great holiday season, and what's rest of it in 2023. We'll see you again in a video soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're looking for something else to see, the Bulge Off 23, we're narrowing down our Battle of the Bulge games to one. King of all the Battle of the Bulge games could use more participation, so feel free to jump over and take a look at that. Thanks, everybody. Bye.